Hello everyone, and today I wanted to talk about my Ostara plans. It is coming up rather quickly. Today is the 18th, I think. So right around the corner for me. Probably by the time you're seeing this, it'll be on Ostara because it's supposed to go up on Monday. So I've tried to do this for quite a few of the Sabbats over the years. Basically, these are what I am planning on doing and just some of the focuses and stuff, because each time the wheel of the year rolls around, usually you're in a very different place year to year. Mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. Life gives you lots of curveballs. So this Ostara, my main focus is just getting into the craft a little bit more. Again, I've kind of not taken a hiatus over the years, but I've definitely pulled back on what I've been doing as a witch for a while. My health wasn't super fabulous, working takes up a lot of time, and so I just was doing bare minimum witchcraft. And now I've kind of got a routine where I can start to add it back in a little bit more at a time, doing a lot more magic, and so that's kind of like the main focus, is like just kind of leveling up the witchcraft. So like what we're actually planning to do is to decorate eggs. We haven't done that in many a year, doing some magic with that. There's a number of videos that show you what to do. Some people like to decorate the shell but hollow out the egg and then use that in like their cooking. I don't have that skill. So we're gonna do the classic that you would normally do for like Easter, that most of us were raised on, where you dye your eggs. But a fun thing that my fiance actually ended up finding out with his mom is that if you buy 2 sets of the egg dye at this time of the year, and you do one in the spring and one in the fall, but in the fall you use the brown eggs, they give like this beautiful autumn color. And so we're like, ooh, equinox time. We're gonna do both. So we're gonna do that at Mabon, but for now, gonna do white eggs so that we can have very beautiful colors to welcome in the spring. Also, during the season of Ostara, we are definitely getting the yard ready for the coming of planting, because even though it's like the 1st of spring, we cannot start planting until Beltane because it's gonna freeze every time. So this is the time where we're cleaning up the yard. I have a dog, we've had a lot of snow. Put the two together, we've got a lot of yard work to clean up. And we dismantled most of the garden from last year, but there's a few areas that have these weird plants that the previous owners had planted, and I've hated them every year. It's just a great spot for snakes to want to hang out. I don't do snakes, they're fucking gross and I don't like them. So taking those out this spring and just being like, no, putting other things here. So clearing that out. And just a bunch of yard work stuff. It's usually around this time that we will get the outdoor stuff back up. A lot of places out here, you know, you take down your gazebos and take your cushions and then stuff from outside. And now it's time to re-put it all back up. Typically we'll do that sometime in the season of Ostara. Definitely going to be blessing my seeds that we've bought this year. We have a bunch of flowers that we're going to be planting because that's kind of the only thing that grows out here. So, flowers. So, going to plant a number of those so that we can actually get them kind of ready to go. I know a lot of people tend to bless their seeds in bulk. Again, we don't plant this time of the year, so we're doing ours at Ostara, and then when it comes around for Beltane, we will actually plant them. If we want to start seeds inside, we could, but I worry they're going to germinate too quickly and they will overgrow their cups. Plus, a lot of times I've done that, they don't survive. Like, I've never really been able to transplant them terribly well. The only thing I would like to try, once again, is to try and grow pumpkins. I have yet to master that one. So I don't know what to do. My pumpkins always die because it can't handle the summer heat here, and I don't know how farmers do it here, but they do. You drive by so many pumpkin patches in the autumn and you're like, how did you do it? And I think their trick is that they have it in the ground, and they're not where I live because our ground is kind of toxic. And they also have irrigation systems that kind of constantly run water through them, probably in the heat of the day, you know, give them just a little bit of a soak away from the heat because it gets hot in the summer here. So anyways, moral of the story, it's a quest of mine to grow a pumpkin one year, but probably not this year. So in the meanwhile, gonna plant our flowers at Beltane, but for now, at least bless the seeds. If I want to start them, I could. Because we do also have like a sage plant we want to, do, and so we might start that one inside and then transplant, if I could stop hitting the camera. We might transplant like a sage plant, but we'll see. Ostara is also a really good time to tap into like the inner child time, at least for me. I know a lot of people, if you follow like the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, this is kind of where like the young god gets to come out and have his fun and playtime, and then they're kind of like teenagers, and then Beltane is supposed to be like your 20s when you're getting married, and I'm kind of like, like your infancy doesn't really count as like your childhood. So it's a really good time to, at least in our practice, to go and just appreciate all things childhood. So for us, like we have a planned trip to go to Disney World now that it's like kind of easier to travel-ish, kind of. But he, like, the fiance's never been to Harry Potter World, so he wants to go. And then, like, we've gone to Disneyland a few times because it's a lot closer to Utah. California's just hop, skip, and a jump that way. Florida's a lot further, but go and just have fun and, just try and do little things to bring yourself a little bit of joy this season. And kind of the last major thing that I'm planning for Ostara this year is just final bits of some witchy wedding planning stuff. Like we got our broom that we're gonna be jumping over. And now I'm just trying to figure out what charms and things I want to add to it. This one's really cool. Obviously not sponsored, who sponsors my channel. But this broom is called the Better Broom and it's on Amazon. But the handle is unfinished wood. Like it's sanded, but doesn't have a varnish on it. So you can wood burn into it. You can stain it what colors you want. You can paint it if you want. And the bristles are really sturdy. A lot of people actually really like this broom for just being a broom, but I am pretty stoked to turn this into our wedding broom, and I'm really tempted to buy 2 of these. They're kind of expensive, but I want one specifically for our wedding and have that as part of, I'm pretty much just gonna have an altar set up to our wedding because that's a lot of stuff that you have to buy for a wedding that you will probably never use again. Like our cake topper and our cutty thingamajig for the cake and my dress and shoes and well, my actual wedding shoes I will probably wear around in different outfits because I'm not wearing traditional shoes. I bought some when I was doing my bridesmaid's dress shopping for me because I know that I can't do heels, and they had tennis shoes, but then I realized that I can't, like I can, but I don't want to cut my dress to hem it because I'm short and it would kind of take away the pattern. So I ended up picking like these really cool like Lolita heels. They're like chunk and like big old platforms, big old heel, but it doesn't feel like much of a heel because of the platform. It, lessens the amount of heel you really have. The only downside is I have big feet, and even though I bought a size up than what I used to wear, no, not really. It's really squishy on the toeses, but I'm like, whatever. It took months of ordering and we'll just roll with it as it is right now. So, anywho, did get my wedding shoes, so those I can wear more often. But then also, like, there's a lot of stuff you have to buy for a wedding. And, like, I'm planning on getting our invites done and sent out. I have, like, 3 more addresses I have to go find. And then I can order them because on the website we're going through, you just, like, key in the names and addresses and stuff, and then it has a program that'll auto-populate it. And then you don't have to do any of the things. And then I think they just mail it out to you, which is fine. But yeah, so that's exciting. I am really ready to get our wedding invites because they're so pretty. I would show you, but like it has all of our information because obviously we wanted to make sure it would look good when we got our proofs. But it's really pretty. And I do plan on doing a wedding, like witchy wedding series. I'm getting close to where I feel like I can start to make some of those videos. I've been waiting just as I've been trying to figure out like what we're gonna do. Like we have our ceremony mostly figured out. He wants to do vows. I don't want to do vows. I hate public speaking. He's a fucking social butterfly. So that's fun. And I'm like, I don't know, I picked you 5 years ago. Guess I'm gonna pick you till I die. Love you, honey. That's how I want to do my vows and be done. But like we set a limit of like, it has to be like, I think 3 to 5 minutes or something or less of talking, which for both of us is easy because neither of us talk very much in public. Anyways, so I'll have my witchy wedding series coming semi soon. I don't know when exactly. But you know, talking about like choosing your stone and, you know, just like kind of, I'm in a couple of the wedding groups and some of them I'm like, oh, that would make sense. Like you pick like, I think one of them was like an emerald ring, and then it ended up being like one of the weaker stones, and so it constantly would chip after a year, and it's like, oh, maybe that's why we picked a diamond, because that doesn't happen. Toughness scale, this one's pretty close though. It's not an actual diamond, it's white sapphire. But anywhoozles, so that'll be coming. So I actually might start planning that in Ostara, because it's one of those that it's a lot of researching and prepping and whatnots to get all of that done. But each one will kind of have its own theme. Obviously, like your witchy wedding, broom, thingamajig, how to use it, what are you gonna use it for afterwards, how are you gonna bless it, etc. and so forth. So that might be a fun video to do. But yeah, so anyways, just trying to be a little more witchy this season. Really excited for the return of spring. It's so nice to have our daylight back. And then just the warm. I'm sick of the snow and cold. We didn't get much snow this year, but it has been so unbelievably cold. So yeah, those are kind of the main plans that we have for Ostara this year. So anywho, that's pretty much it for what we're gonna do for Ostara. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know what you guys are planning on doing, or if you've already celebrated, depending on when you celebrate. It might have already happened by the time you see this. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon.